Hello and welcome to the Dance of the Soul of 2022. And we are here. Regan is having a little struggle getting on, so we are here. I just want to invite everybody to be here to witness walking into 2022. Oh, and there's Regan. So we'll get him in. Hello, Regan.
Hi there.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Just took me a bit to get set up here, but doing okay.
Oh, good, 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 good. It's a little bit hard to hear you, so I don't know if it's your where your mic is.
Is that any better?
A little bit, but
I've been on
what
the
I
phone
hear is
today I've been on the phone today with people, and a few times they said it was hard for them to hear me.
oh,
Okay, let's see. And I don't know what that is. I have the volume up all the way.
yeah.
So,
Sometimes it's how we have our phone done. You
yeah.
know,
All right.
uh,
Like right now, I'm right close to it.
I know I hear you just a little bit. So we'll just navigate it, Regan.
I've got the computer in the other room. I'm going to use that because, and then I'll come back on in just a second.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. There we go. So, welcome to 2022, right? Life is happening around us, and this is one thing that I have always done well is managing what's in front of me. And sometimes, it floors me a little bit, but I just roll with things too, lovingly said. And people are always amazed at what I can roll with. But, it's one of those things. I'm so grateful to be back. And, I apologize for taking a week off. I'm not going to apologize. But, I know that there's a routine and people like to, be in that routine. And, usually I would try to do things during, time away. But, to be honest with you, I was on a 4-hour different time difference. And sometimes it's hard to put things in perspective, especially when you're dealing with other people and that kind of thing. And thank you, Veronica. You said we miss you too. Yes, I did miss me doing my show, and actually, it was quite interesting. Uh, Getting some perspective away and just dealing with what presented in front of me, and I was so grateful to get the messages that I did while I was away, and those perspectives. And it was kind of interesting how, I'm always intuitive, but it was even my intuitiveness kind of took a break. And it was kind of, I think we all needed a little bit of a break, even though I did my daily posts. But Regan's going to go get his computer and he'll be back on. The one thing we wanted to talk about today, being that it's the new year, and most everybody has something that they call a resolution that they're going to do, a New Year's resolution. I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to try to do that, and try to do this, and try to do that. And, when Regan comes on, we might have to repeat a little bit of this. But the one thing that I want people to know, though, is that there is a difference. Oh, here's Regan again. So we're gonna wander through that. There we are, Regan. Hi. Oh, you're here, voice and everything.
I am here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and your computer does do a little bit better than your phone. So,
Yeah.
but phones are great for what they do. So it's great. But I was just kind of talking about what we were going to talk about today, which was, and Regan. Actually, we should introduce ourselves. I'm Natasha Venter, and I'm a medium intuitive personal awareness coach. And I do like doing a lot of different things, helping people through things and managing things. And I was just saying that, like you coming in and out, it's just a small thing in my world of life. But Regan Forsten is a hypnotherapist with the Newton Institute. And yet he has many other tools in his bucket, just like I do. And we all kind of have these knowings of where we're at, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. Like Regan, you've had a lot of life story. Go ahead, do what you need to do. And, we all have our own personal life stories that we do, but those add into the skills that we can have in life. And, like you've had a lot of, like me, a lot of New Year's that came in and kind of gave us a perspective. And I know that for me, resolutions never work. They never work for me because, but yet intentions do tend to work differently for me. And I don't know if you find the same thing.
You mean when people make New Year's resolutions, they don't really work?
No, I'm not saying that they never work. I'm just saying that there is a different way of looking at it when it's an intention over a
Yeah.
resolution.
Yeah. When you set the intent. Yeah. I never really thought about it that way before, but there's a difference there between having an intent and just making a resolution.
Mm.
I can explain what I learned in hypnotherapy school, though, about why, they always gave the example right this time of year, everybody sit down and like the best example is most people want to lose weight, so they get a subscription to the gym, and they're going to go 3 times a week and they're going to work out and whatever. And they do that for a little while, maybe a month, sometimes 2 months. And then by March, all of a sudden they're going, oh boy, I made that excuse and I didn't go to the gym. I didn't even go in the last 3 weeks, and they start feeling guilty and they start feeling bad. And that adds a lot of stress and everything. And then they gain more weight because of that, because of all the, they've just kind of given up and they don't understand why. Well, what we found out, the way the mind works, is that when they found a way to measure the power of the subconscious as compared to the conscious mind, where we are right now, the subconscious gets 88% of the brain power, and our conscious mind, where we're talking right now, where also willpower and decision making are, is only 12%. So as good as the intentions are, and they are for people, like they're just darn sure they're going to do it, willpower goes and goes and goes, but then that 88% starts whispering to them and saying, oh gosh, do we really like being sweaty?
Yeah.
Oh, our muscles hurt, and oh, the food I'm eating is horrible. And and those little whispers pretty much take over after a while. And they just wipe out that conscious decision to, where our willpower was. So willpower only works to a certain degree. That's why hypnotherapy works so well with people, because we talk to the mind on the subconscious and the conscious level. So we try to get the subconscious and kind of hold it aside and say, hey, look, we're trying to lose weight here. You can't keep whispering these things. And what I do with people, especially that want to lose the weight, is in a deep state of hypnosis, I have them imagine themselves on a beautiful island, and they're walking around in the weight and the age that they just see themselves as, and they're beautiful, and they're, see in every possible good way, and to try to get the subconscious to see that vision too, like the conscious mind does, And once the subconscious gets on your side, you got it made, because then you got 88% and you're 12% working on it, not just a measly 12%. So, for people that can't afford to go to a hypnotherapist or don't want to, then the best way, I would say, is to set your intentions during a meditation exercise. Because when you're meditating, your brain waves are such that the subconscious and conscious mind are more on par.
Yeah.
And when you're talking and everything, then it can listen to you more. Because right now it's kind of like there's this great divide between our conscious and subconscious minds, And all you do in hypnosis is you bring those two together, where you're kind of looking at them side by side, and then you're giving the instructions so they both can hear you. So that's at least what we learned in hypnotherapy school, and I kind of believe that's probably the way it is.
It's a truth. It is. And that's the reason why, that we have so much trouble, is because our subconscious mind likes to do a little dance behind the scenes that we don't really realize that it is. I mean, like for me, like when you were talking, I was saying the word resolution and intention. And just to feel the vibration change in that, just saying the word resolution. It has a lightness to it. It has an upperness to it. But when I say intention, it kind of almost brings it. It's like getting a car into 4-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive. It has a different feel to it, because it's that, oh, my intention. my intention. It's got a different ring to it. And I know for me, like I've set up intentions many a times, and I can say that they carry through pretty much until like even 3 to 6 months into it, because of the fact that it's a pattern that, when I'm like, for me right now, my intention is to finish things. So let's say, if I am doing, I want to finish what I start. So in other words, instead of just leaving two more things, I'll spend 2 to 3 more minutes to finish what I'm started. Just instead of just putting the clothes down, put them away. Spend that 3 more minutes putting things away. So my
Right.
intention is that, like I told my husband, there's only two of us in the house. Let's just finish what we start. And so that is my intention, is to do that. And I can tell that even though it's like, oh God, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, I purposely tell myself, wait a minute, that's not my intention. It's like, I don't want to lie to myself. A resolution, oh yeah, it's in the upper mind. It's not something that I want to think about. And so with
Yeah.
that I just want people to offer people that how to feel more successful in their life, because I know that a lot of people feel so guilty, like you're saying, when we don't carry through with resolutions.
Yeah. I know. And that's why I think that, like when you're saying the difference between like intention has a little bit more power to it, then resolution is is a little more weaker of a word in a sense. And an
Hmm.
intention, we said my intention. So let's talk today about, before we get started too, I was going to say, I'll introduce myself. I'm Regan Forsten. I have a website called visittheafterlife.com. I work with the Newton Institute. I'm one of about 220 therapists in the world. This is in 46 countries, about 200 of us. And we've discovered a process where we help people achieve a deep state of trance, which about 90% of the people can. It's not as hard as people think.
No.
And in that state, you're easily able to access memories of your past lives and go beyond that to your memories and of being in the afterlife. Is, in other words, the place you are in between lives. That's why we call it, life between lives therapy. And in that state, when you go to it in a conscious state with a therapist like me next to you, we have you prepare a list of questions of things you want to ask when you're in the afterlife. Like, what's my mission? What am I doing? How am I going to lose weight? What am I going to have? They're happy to help you over there. These we call these elders or teachers or masters. Um, they're the same entities that Natasha there tunes into with her
Mhm.
abilities. And this way you're kind of right before them in like a council like setting, and you get your questions answered, and it's all recorded so you remember it when you come back. And it's up to you whether you want to do what they suggest.
Mhm.
But that's what we do. So today I'm thinking too, we're setting intentions. We can go over some practical ways, like both of us are life coaches, both Natasha and I. Sometimes you have to do things in the physical. For instance, you're going to lose weight. Well, you have to have a plan, just if something you're going to do to help you, get to what your goal is. Um, and so you do the physical things you need to, but then you need to work on your subconscious, your inner workings
Mhm.
too. So you have to kind of combine them both that way. Um, and in a few minutes, if Natasha, I was going to invite Patty to be with us because she is the biggest manifester I've ever met in my life.
Yes, she
And
is.
she's had she's had training from some of the best coaches in the world. She's probably spent, oh gosh, I'm guessing $100,000 in coaching over that, and she has learned from the best on how to manifest and to how to get what you want. So
Mhm.
in a little bit, if she'll be available, I'll have her sit here and she can do what she's helping me do to help me to learn to manifest to get things done. So we can get her words of wisdom from all that coaching.
Okay. Well, and I wanted to kind of, to focus on something here, because, and I really would love it if she can pop in. She's
Yeah.
always, she's amazing to me. That, it's also what we say. And I've already caught something that has been said. losing weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose, my financial, reluctance to, I want to spend less money, I those kinds of things. Like for losing weight, I always go, when we lose something, we usually want to find it, don't we? So
Yeah.
why would we want to lose weight and then find it again? I want
Yeah.
to
What's a better
release.
way to frame that?
I'm releasing the excess body weight that is no longer good for my greater good.
I like that.
I'm releasing the extra weight that is no longer for my greater good. And that's the thing is that we hold on to these words. Words are amazingly attachable to things. Like I said, losing. Well, most of the time we want to find it again. So that's why we circle back around. Well, I lost 10 pounds, but I gained it back again because I found it again,
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I've always noticed, that there's other things that are bigger than what we're saying. So like
Yeah.
with losing weight or releasing the weight, many of us don't realize that the reason why we're holding on to so much weight is because we're holding on to so much of our body's energy in our gut. And then that's why we miseat so many things. And it's not necessarily that it's wrong or right to eat. I mean, I eat chocolate chips.
Mhm.
I just had chips with my sandwich today at lunch. The thing is, what I'm telling myself is that when is it unhealthy for my mental body, mind, spirit to keep eating it? When is it unhealthy? And that's the flip around to shifting things. As many of us try to do it, well, if I exercise, I'm gonna lose the weight, right?
Yeah.
If I stop going to stores, I'm gonna stop spending money. Well, no, habits are gonna stay there. It's how do we navigate with them or manipulate with them or interact with them along the way, and it's our mindset. Many of us punish ourselves because of our past history of life, and how we've been like there's a commercial out for noon right now where
Yeah.
I love you, eat it, it's good for you, love you, and so she was forcefully to eat. And many of us do that, and eating is just one of the metaphors of life. I know some of us spend money, some of us drink, some of us, it's like there's something that we're always wanting to do different. And I notice for me, I would like to get a little bit more in, I don't want to call it shape, but use my muscles to their greater good so I can keep them.
So you're
It's not,
saying that if somebody wants to lose weight, and the way that they're because of the power of words, you want to start making reframing the way you say. You don't say I'm going to lose weight. You say I'm willing to let go, or I'm letting go of any body weight that's not good for me anymore, that's making me unhealthy. I'm just letting it go because I don't need it anymore.
exactly.
Instead of losing it and then like, oh, where to go,
Exactly, because that's that there again, the subconscious mind says, I lost it. I need to find it. I need to find it. I lost it. I mean, how many times do we lose our keys? Do we lose our socks? Do we lose, and we want to find them? Most
Yeah.
everything we lose, we want to find, but why would we want to lose weight and then find it again?
Okay.
So
So
go ahead.
somebody wants to stop smoking in the new year. So let me think. I'm trying to use the verbiage that I think you will say is correct.
There's no right or wrong. I'm not trying to. I'm just being observant of how to
Instead
play
of saying
with words.
I'm going to quit smoking, it would be more like I'm now ready to let go of this smoking habit I have, which is making me sick, and I don't need it anymore. My body doesn't want it, doesn't need it, and I'm just willing to let it go.
And
I
doesn't
can't.
that ring? Didn't that hit you in the gut?
Yeah.
It's like that just that concept of, oh, I'm ready to let it go.
It actually sounds pretty good when you think, gosh, Yeah, like if you have an animal that's attacking you and eating starting to crunch into your body, you're saying, I'm willing to let go of this beast that's going to kill me here in a little bit. I don't need it anymore. I don't
Exactly.
need to have this. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just one of those things that we have these things that attach to us, and we have these scenarios. Everybody has something. I mean,
Yeah.
even me, I have things that I have to work through. And as we go through life, it is about claiming it in its light that it is.
Yeah.
And
Let's,
that's the way and
yeah,
that's
Patty's
where,
here. Let me
okay,
have her join us here and she can join in the discussion here.
okay.
Happy New Year!
Happy New
Hey,
Year to you guys.
there you are. There you
There.
Wait, what? Happy New Year, Natasha.
Happy New Year to you too. Let
Good
me see
one.
if I can get
Big-
this. Oh, there we go. Is
There
that
we go.
better?
Wow,
Yeah.
I'll move over a little bit. There.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
So, we all have things like one thing that Patty and I do every year on New Year's Day is wherever we're at, we both have binders, and we write down everything that we can, all the good things that happened to us in the previous year, and look at what worked, what didn't work, and then we decide how we want this year to look. So we'll make a list like of relationship, of course, what we want to do to improve that, business, health. And we go through all the categories and we put down what we envision that we see,
Mhm.
and Patty's been doing that for years. The thing that was really shocking is she went back and looked at her 5-year plan that she had back 5 years ago. And it's like all this stuff is just happened,
You almost have
because
to be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's it, because people say, "Oh, I don't make goals because the goals don't ever come about," or "I'm not a manifester." Well, we're all manifesting whatever's here. So if that's like, my life is crap, I hate it, that's what you're manifesting. So people think like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just, that's all it is. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
Um,
I
what I
do,
was
but a lot of people don't, and it's like it's something that their mind keeps repeating it because they've heard it since day one of they heard it in the womb even. So it's
Yeah.
something that they resonate well with, and yet it's the sabotager of our whole world.
Yeah. And you know what, when you were talking before, what it reminded me of is be, do, and have, or have, do, and be. Like a simple, what I mean by that, it's like a simple example in our culture, like a Crest toothpaste commercial. When I have that toothpaste, or when I brush my teeth with that toothpaste, I'll have the man of my dreams, the woman of my dreams, and then I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really backwards, because if you're just being whatever you're being, whether it's, sarcastic and, just a downer, or just being that person that's going to attract whatever it is you want, you got to be it first, and then you're going to have it, and then you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I drive that car, then I'll, get that job, then I'll be happy, or whatever. Or if I get that job, I'll get that car. Then, it's all just like, and we're so set on just like making goals of like, for things, cars, boats, houses. And it's really just like, who are you being? And,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not as just as simple as, changing who you're being. It's like the inside job that we're talking about,
Exactly. It's like, for me, picturing myself being the intention of just spending 3 more minutes on things, just finishing what I'm starting, cleaning it up, just, it's like, okay, spend 2 more minutes and finish the dishes, instead of saying, I'll let that one soak and then get it later. It's one of those things, yeah. And I'm not a perfectionist by any means. So with that my mom was a hoarder. So I've come a long ways in doing
well, yeah,
life.
isn't it important too that you want to start the year with gratefulness? In other words, of
Yes.
everything that you have. You want to start that life is great, and you're just going to add on to it. And not look
Exactly.
at all the negative stuff.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
think
Well,
that's
that's the thing about doing that, but doing the intention, like I was saying, though, I'm picturing myself. How does it feel finishing those 3 minutes? It's that follow, like you're saying, being it, following through with it, so it feels more successful. So that
yeah,
when I get there, I go, oh, I did a damn good job, and I'm feeling grateful for, I'm feeling that aha moment at the end of it, and those are those things that will keep us going because at the end of everything, we need to feel something. And most
yeah,
of us have practiced feeling crappy about our lives.
yep,
Yep.
And it's
Negative
amazing what we
thought.
can have.
yeah. And it's actually kind of in a way safer to feel crappy.
Hmm.
You're just in it. But feeling good, it's like, huh, what am I missing? What do I I don't know. Yeah. I like feeling
I would
good.
agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I know, that you, oh my gosh, just being a witness of you in the last year that I've known Regan, I can't believe the manifesting you've done in your life. I mean, it's just amazing. And you have that mindset of it though, that this is what I want, this is what I'm going to get, and there's no setting back. But you're also willing in the way of manifesting to accept that it's not going to be perfect the way you think it.
Yeah. And
You
and
know,
I mean,
you,
like the thing is, if everything manifested just like that, it would be ridiculous. Like, for example, like I would love to see an elephant. I like elephants in your living room. It's like this beach house took 25 years.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so you just keep vibrating on that's what it is. And like example of the beach house too, like when I think it's just a certainty, like when I had the germ of an idea in September and then actual of like I'm going to do this and then like closed it in October. But in September I had no idea like when, where, how. And I was telling people, oh God, I forgot to tell you, I'm getting a speech house. And they're like, oh my God, where is it? And I was like, no, 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 I don't have it yet, but I'm not like faking it. Like I'm literally vibrating and being like, this is done. It's happening, and it's not like that with everything. Sometimes you just got to feel into it. Is it the right choice? But when there's certainty, there's force, and there's just like, it's coming, I mean, there was like, done. It's done. This is what we're doing,
Mhm.
but that doesn't happen all the time. And you don't want that happening all the time, or else it'd be just like, is this, we have to feel into it. Is this right? But I mean, that was a 25-year goal. So,
Well, and that's the thing is that if it would have happened 10 years ago, you probably would have enjoyed it, but you wouldn't have appreciated it the way you do today.
Yeah, we really appreciate it now.
yeah. Well, I mean, I really
Yeah.
couldn't afford it. I had it 10 years ago and I shared it and it was small. It was a smaller place and it was on the beach. And I shared it with 3 other people. And I wouldn't have wanted more than that because I had a child at home. I was working really hard.
Mhm.
So we get what we need at the time,
Yes.
or what we're
Isn't
ready
that
for.
amazing? Yeah, I just
Yeah.
find that amazing. If I look back on my life and all the times that I was uncertain about my future, and yet I just knew that life was going to take care of me. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I knew
Yeah.
life was going to take care of me. And that's what I manifested was life was going to take care of me. And
Wow.
now I'm asking for life to take care of me with a little bit more gems in it. A
Yeah.
little bit more blessings in it, more grace in it, more ease in it, more just okay, I can have balance in my life. And that's the thing about don't be afraid to ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Have the intention, this is what I want, and then be willing to be flexible to receive what is given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Receive what
It's
is
true.
given.
Well, I mean, honestly, like sometimes I feel like I have to get it more in touch with my feelings because if I feel kind of down, I'm like, who am I to feel down? And in a way, we could just talk about white entitlement, white privilege. But like, I feel like I feel so lucky to be born as a woman in this time versus even 10 years ago or 20 or be born in Africa getting
Hmm.
FGM. I just feel like, who am I to be down? I have so much, but we've got to feel it all, you know? That's like
Yes.
just a little aside about the just having, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But that's where I feel like there's the difference between the New Year's resolution and having the intention of life being a little different.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
resolution, the reason why I'm having the resolution up is because it's all in the mind. It's, I want to do a resolution. But when you sit down and say, my intention, what is my intention? What am I going to do
Yeah.
in my life to make my life different?
Yeah.
And, having a conversation the other day, and I know I put my husband into this whole mix a lot of times, but we're great at oil and water, fire and water, type of thing. And that's the thing is that we didn't pick big things this year to have different, but it was
Yeah.
just those things that just say, you know what, I'm going to watch the way I talk to somebody else, or
Yeah.
just those little things that helped life just move by a little bit easier. And I can say that right now, the world we're walking into, if we can have more of it's not about wanting the new car. Yes, we want to have a car that's safe and comfortable to drive. And if that means getting a new car, that means getting a new car.
Yeah.
But it's that, what is my intention about getting the new car? Is it because I need the best and the latest? No, I want a safe car that can take me places, that can handle, like right now, while I was in Florida, we had 12 inches of snow. I want a car that can handle the weather, or get me through the stuff. And, it's just one of those things that when we're going through life, if we can take a hold of a little bit different mindset of, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. No, I want to release the struggle that I have with my weight.
Yeah.
Get behind why are we wanting to do it? Get behind it a
Right.
little differently. And I can
Right.
guarantee that someone may not lose 10 pounds. And there I use the word lose, release the 10 pounds, but I can tell you they probably will release the 8 pounds and 2 pounds of just puffiness and
Yeah.
toxicity, which is going to make them feel 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah. 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 A lot of times, wanting is an acknowledgement of what we don't have. And it's hard to vibrate from lack. When you
Mm-hmm.
feel the abundance and the gratefulness of what's there, then you're vibrating from just richness and pleasure and gratefulness, appreciation. And then you can say what's missing, the grace or whatever, but it comes from that. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what you mean. It's like, anytime you're like wishing for a car, it's gonna that high is gonna last like anywhere from like 2 hours to a month, depending on who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not long lasting. And there again is the resolutions that we wane off of. And then we feel guilty because we didn't follow through. And,
Mm,
and that's one thing that, like Regan was saying, that you two go over what you did last year and then set new intentions and goals for this next year. And those are those things that when we can really look at, okay, why am I wanting to set this goal? Where am I going to go with this? It
yeah.
gets us a little deeper and makes that walk a little bit longer in our day-to-day life. And
Yeah.
I know one thing that I was manifesting and asking for my days, hours to look a little different. And it finally happened this last year where I was able to work less at school and have more time for my business, which I can tell that whole shift of energy. But I had to wait for the right timing.
Yes. Yes. I mean, just because we declare it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. And
Mm-mm.
sometimes it does, and then sometimes it takes years. But it's like we're being that and working toward that. Or
Mm-hmm.
working is even too strong of a word, but allowing that, being open to that. And that inner work is what is going to
Mm-hmm.
allow it to come.
Exactly. That inner processing, that inner
Yeah.
looking, that inner, because work is sometimes a nasty word, but it's that inner action, inner reaction to interaction. We get,
Yeah.
it's that doing. Because I know for me that it really took COVID, and having schools be out for those couple of months for me to really see. There again is the seeing to be able to bring it forth.
Yeah. Same.
Hey, I was successful on 3 hours Now I'll be more successful on 4 hours. It's like, okay, I can see myself actually doing this now. Here I
Yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
seeing that application. And that's the thing about people when they're doing resolutions. They say it on paper, but do they really see what can be the application of it?
Yeah.
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 I would say too, and the way, you don't, hypnosis is all self-hypnosis. In other words, as a hypnotist, I just help people. I help people to kind of get there, but they're really doing it themselves. So I say, for people out there that are listening, if you, for instance, we're using weight as an issue, but it could be anything, is picture the result in your mind, really, go deep into relaxation, maybe, get a bubble bath and put on some candles and lay there and just start envisioning what your, the end result. In other words, see yourself being thin, see how good it feels, how your clothes fit, and how you, when you look in the mirror, you smile bigger because you're at the way, and how healthy you are, that you're going to be around for your grandchildren now, because you're not going to get diabetes and you're not going to have all the other things that comes with too much weight, and just to feel how good it feels, and that's part of the, like they say, you write down your goals, but you have to, and I think a lot of the power comes in the way you envision things, just have that vision to make it happen. And then just go about doing the things, go to the gym or something, do your stuff, eat as good as you can, but don't,
Struggle.
don't struggle with it. Just enjoy it.
Well,
Enjoy the
and
process.
also then the next step is the inner work, because then, you come off that high of feeling, oh yeah, I see it, I believe it. And then you're like, okay, so I've sabotaged myself. I'm giving up. I'm on the ground. One step I heard a long time ago is that you write on the left-hand side of the paper, I am thin and toned and weigh 130 pounds. The right side of the paper is what you just said to yourself. Oh yeah, I've heard that before. Go back to the left side. I'm thin and toned and 130 pounds. No, you're not. You're a fat slob. I'm thin and toned and I'm 130 pounds. And you just keep on going until all that comes out. And then you keep on doing it. Because
that's a good way to get out what your subconscious is whispering.
Yes.
To you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, also, I mean, it's like, it's just a constant, because we've had these things embedded for so long. So, the power of what Regan does, and then they're like, yeah, or any of us take a course. Yeah. And then how do you keep it going? That's what that's your inner process. You got to keep on that. So that's a cool thing to do sometimes. No, you're not. You're a fat slob. I'm thin and toned at 130 pounds. Yeah, right. Since when? 15 years old, whatever,
And that's the thing that it's willing to hear those two sides. It's that devil and the angel on either side of us, and owning up. And that's the thing that I find that a lot of people, they self-sabotage in their intentions or their goals or their resolutions, is because they're not willing to hear that negative talk.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get up. That's working out. I don't want to get up this morning. I don't want to get up this morning. Why should I get up this morning? That's crappy. Why do I have to get up this morning to work out? Well, okay, I'll give you, I don't want to get up this morning, 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll get up. It's that
That's
being
good.
willing to have a compromise with those stories that like to come out. And a lot of times I don't want to get up didn't mean I don't want to do it. I just don't want to get up, and so compromising and navigating with the body's energy and what's happening. Sometimes we can take those 5 minutes, and then that your body goes, okay, you compromise with me, I'll compromise with you. Let's get up. It's that giving a voice to those parts of us. Well,
right.
Because many a times, let's go back to the piece of paper. I'm 130 pounds looking beautiful. No, you're not. Well, no, you're not. It could be a family member that told you your whole life that no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
or
good,
it could be aware of that.
Yeah, it could be your older sibling or an aunt or an uncle or somebody. We have to say, whose voice is this shit?
Yeah. And we all know what we're supposed to do. Like, think about the guy that's sitting there smoking on the street, and the Karen comes by and goes, smoking's bad for you. Like, I don't think there's a person on the planet that doesn't know that smoking's bad for them. We know all this stuff. It's like, how do you stop it? How do you change it? How do you continue? Some of it's just habit. Some of it's the inner stuff. Some of it's, maybe you're just looking for peace and, find that in a different way. But it's very complicated, but it doesn't happen instantly, but you got to keep the commitment and the work and looking at it.
Yeah. It's funny. It could be a simple sentence that somebody says to you in part of your life that keeps you blocked on a certain subject for years and years and years. Because a good example of that was my first dance in high school. It was actually the first dance I ever went to. I was a freshman, and Father, oh gosh, I can't remember his name, Father Morley, got me a date with a girl named Jane Beer. Just like Beer was her name.
Mm-hmm.
And she was she lived directly across the street from where we were going to have the dance. So at home, I practiced dancing and everything, listening to music by myself. And so I was so happy to go there, be out there dancing. And I went out with Jane Beer. And the first time I'm dancing and I'm feeling free, one of the seniors walked by and he goes, "Oh, he looks so stupid." And I immediately felt so self-conscious that until I was in my 40s, I was like kind of, afraid to go out and dance. And I realized that it was from that one sentence, how he just said that and how I felt. So just imagine, sometimes people are with parents sometimes that say, "Oh, you're so stupid," or "You'll never amount to much," or anything. And somehow it goes in the subconscious as truth, and we feel that way. So I think if we, if you did both sides of the page, like Patty was saying, and then you start like saying, "Wait a minute, who's saying that? Is that my mom saying that? Is that, was that television or something or, whatever?" And just start moving beyond that and saying, "Wait a minute, do I really believe that? No." Okay. And just getting rid of those subconscious problems that we have,
And that's the thing that I want to say too, is that, we're kind of tapping into that word vulnerability.
Yeah.
How can we be vulnerable with ourselves more so that we can become stronger? And I know that for me, that when I have been vulnerable with myself and said, "Who truly is saying that?" Oh, I know that's a whisper deep down somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's a whisper deep, deep down. Now that deep down feeling, that's something that somebody can claim. Now, for me, that might mean a past life, or that might mean something I heard in the womb. But just knowing, oh, that's deep, deep down. Ooh, that's a self-belief that I don't know where it came from. But owning that and saying it's okay, I don't need to know where it came from. But at the same time, it's that owning up to saying I'm vulnerable enough to know that, is that my truth? It's that navigating. Whose truth are we really navigating with? Am I supposed to be more pounds than I am? But who's telling me I am? And I know one thing that when I was going from being very shy and quiet and going through the grief of my parents and navigating with the alcoholic husband I did for those years, I started reading books of women. They were just romance novels, and I'm just going to name, I love reading Nora Roberts and her trilogies because of the fact, and I love her trilogies because it's about empowerment. Male or female, it's about self-empowerment. And there's so many times I went, oh, I'm going to try being a little vulnerable and try practicing that a little bit. And that just seeing somebody else do it gave me that, oh, maybe I can practice that a little bit, but practice that vulnerability and doing it. And, doing resolutions are never easy. Doing, new intentions and the new year. And we had a new moon at the same time the new year hit.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
We had
So tell me about
moon.
that. What does that mean?
Okay, so a new moon is about new beginnings. What is my intention? So we have now a new moon until the moon goes to half, and then it starts going into the full moon. So as the new moon has hit, it's building up. What do we want to build up going forward? And then as everything has a beginning, it needs to have an ending, right? With a full moon. Well, in order to have something new come into our life, we need to have something end, right? Which is maybe our self doubts,
Yeah.
of ourself. And so by the end of January, we'll have a full moon.
Wow.
And so with that, but having a new moon with the new year of 2022, which is a master number. 22 is a master number. It's 2 11s put together. So so we have an opportunity to have an excellent year if we hold intentions and that buildup of who am I truly. And we can manifest anything we want. Many of us are major manifestors. And I'm going to say that I even sabotage myself sometimes. It's easy to sabotage ourselves. But being careful what we're saying is going to give us grace, because this 22 year, we have the opportunity to maybe not have exactly what we want, but to have magic in our lives.
Yeah, we both think
beautiful.
that this year's going to be. Actually, we were talking about this year, and even with COVID and everything, I mean, this was a good year, at least for us. For of what we manifested, of how we felt we've grown spiritually, how our relationship has gotten better. And even though there were some sad things that happened, I mean, we put it down. It was a great year, But then we look back, and the year before that was a great year, and the year before that was a great year. So I know this is going to be a good year this year, I feel. One thing that funny, but Patty and I both picked up on. Patty's a little more intuitive than me, I believe, but yeah. But,
sorry, I had to laugh at that one. Both of you are pretty amazing.
Well, now I don't know if this is too vague or not, but we picked up on. We thought that somebody that we know, that's kind of in our inner circle or close to it or something, it just seems like we don't know yet, but someone's going to die pretty soon.
Well, I just said that we were walking on the beach yesterday, and I just said, you know what? I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what this is about. I have no certainty about it, and no evidence and no reason. But I just have a feeling in the first 6 months of the year, someone we know, like in the first kind of tier, is going to die in the 6 months, whether it be like our brothers or sisters, our nieces or nephews, our parents are gone, but us, or like select close friends. I don't know.
Well, we're gonna have another veil coming in through the equinox, the spring equinox. That there's going to be another doorway where we're going to lose a lot of souls.
Okay, so it could be from COVID or just somebody.
It's just life. It's just life. I mean, over the new year, we had a good friend who he just basically fell down when he was getting his cup of coffee because his heart stopped. It's just one of those things, and it hit us. Gonna miss that boy.
I mean, and the older you get, the more people around you die. And the more people you know. So it could be a 19-year-old that dies, but I exactly feel like in our close little circles.
Yes, yeah, and I can say that yes. I'm not going to name them because that's not fair to that person.
Okay, but isn't that a beauty? I mean, the fact that we do this work and people watching the show know that we look at everything from the spiritual side, and even though we still grieve. It's a tolerable grief, In other words, we miss them and our heart feels for them, but we know they're okay, that they're just on the other side. Like when I went to the afterlife my second time, as I mentioned on another show, and we asked about COVID and everything, the first thing that the guides and everything said to us is like, okay, guys, everybody that died's fine. They're over here. They're doing fine. So don't worry about that, and it's gives you kind of a perspective there. It's like, yeah, okay, don't worry about them, they're okay, but still it just there's that, I don't know, because I thought, well, Jesus, somebody's so spiritually advanced, like a teacher or a guru that's really knows the other side, and they lose somebody, why are they grieving? Because they know they're just in the next room, but they still grieve. It's just something that comes with being human. you know?
It does. Well, and two, it's not always like for me, my dad, I knew that he was around, but I missed his hug. I missed his
Mm,
voice. I
Yeah.
missed his energy physically with me,
yeah.
because we were so my dad and I we're still in the same ring of the tree,
Mhm.
That's a
our
good way to put
families.
it.
Yeah, I always believe that we have rings of the tree, and we have our soul family, but we're in the same ring, and my mom was on a couple rings out,
Same. Oh my God, I love that. Yep.
and so with that, that when my dad, it's just like my child who moved to New Mexico, even though I don't have her physically, and so there was that grief of her moving away because she was going to be gone for however long she chooses to be
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and
And people,
go ahead.
well, I was just say people that are married to military people and their husband or wife now, which could be, has to go on tour or duty, and they're gone for 6 months or a year, and there's that longing and that missing and everything, even though they're okay, and that they're still your husband or wife, and but
Mhm.
that's just is kind of how it is. Remember we said before that what was expressed so good from somebody that was on TV was saying that grief is just unexpressed love.
Oh,
Yes,
Isn't
wow.
that beautiful? It's
that
just,
is.
it's
It's.
that grief. It's just that unexpressed love,
Hmm.
you
Mhm.
know? So, well, we're starting the new year and we're going to, no matter what happens, Natasha, with our family, yours, and whatever, we're going to try to, you know, have some goals and,
Mhm.
work towards those goals and try to live in the moment. Have you noticed too, Natasha? Sometimes I think it's just me getting older, but it's like if I had to remember what happened 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or a month ago, unless it was something really, really major, it all blends together. And
It does. It does because of the fact that, and I think this is the thing that I've noticed, and being an observer is that I've gone through some pretty deep grief. So for me, the little things just kind of they slide by, you
Yeah.
know. It's like who cares if dinner is at 10 minutes later than it was supposed to be,
Hmm.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
yeah,
Somebody else, it has been, and then they'll remember that and carry that with them. Small, perspective. It's all
It's
perspective.
all perspective. Yeah.
But for me, I care about the deep things.
Yeah.
It's not about the little dances of life. So I was bored for 10 minutes. Who cares? You know? you
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
it, it's one of those things, and that's where life is getting more and more, is to get to attract those bigger moments, to express what we're supposed to learn from, and express those emotions that we can grow with them, and then move on to what they are. And so there again, going back to what we were talking about with the resolutions and the intentions, that if we fail one day, what are we going to learn from that failure? Well, for one, it wasn't a failure, because every time we breathe out, it's about learning, and so we can breathe in and go forward again.
Yeah.
What do we want to do with our lives? And that's
Exactly.
about being in the greater moment.
Yes, I think that's true too. Like when we're present, we can't remember. And I think back to Regan's statement about like, is it because we're getting older? I think we have different perspective, like you said, on what's meaningful and what's not. We also are in a, like, time is literally more compressed than it used
It
to be.
is.
And then the longer you live, the more stuff you have. So you can't remember it all. You don't want to remember it all. And the bigger your life, the fuller your life, the less you can remember. Like we were like, was that yesterday? Because there's so
Mhm.
much good going on. But it's perspective, and like what matters, and being present. And you're not going to remember much if you're present, ironically. Because I mean, it's like the people that are at a concert or at a sunset, and their whole time they're taking a picture. Like, no, experience the sunset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's, people are though are afraid of opening themselves up to that vulnerability, of being in the moment fully.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the sunset. Put your feet on and just, you know, just sit with it for a minute. You know, there's many times when I see a rainbow and I just breathe, even though I'm taking pictures, I sit there and I breathe with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But,
it's just
yeah.
that moment of, you know, dog looks at me, you know, my sweet dog, and she looks at me and I just kind of go, and I just take a moment with her. Now, do I remember all those moments? No, but my soul collects them. And that's the thing that helps build us to our greater selves, because those are those things that fill up our battery. Those are
Yeah.
the things that really bring our inner energy field to a better vibration, a
Yeah.
cleaner vibration.
Yeah. And it
That
helps
makes
with
any
those New
sense. That's
Year's
bigger picture.
resolutions to lose weight or to stop smoking. It's because you're at peace in yourself,
Mhm.
and you don't need to, you know, whatever that is.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why I do like to do intentions over resolutions, because of the fact that it puts me more in the moment.
Yeah.
My intention is to do better. Well, if I'm doing the dishes and I want to finish them up, if I'm present in the moment, I won't be thinking about, well, I need to go do this and this and this, which pulls me away from finishing the dishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tricky, the mind is a tricky place to be.
It is. The mind is a scary place. Don't go there often. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And remember, as I
exactly.
always mention on here too, that, you know, that bumper sticker I saw, which has stayed with me forever, is that nothing changes unless something changes. So, you know, if you want to lose weight or that, you can't do the same thing you've been doing all the time. You have to change something. But even
Exactly.
if you change a little thing, it can be a massive thing when you take it down the, you know, let's say if somebody just, you know, had maybe they have a piece of pie every night for dinner. And if they just cut that piece of pie in half and just have half of it, and they do that for 365 days, there's going to be a lot of weight that's gone off just from them making a little tiny change.
Exactly. Or changing the time you do eat it, you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes if we eat that pie more at lunch instead of at dinner, our body might absorb it differently. And that's the thing about checking in with, what are we doing? What
Yes.
are we truly doing that is a sabotage in a way?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah.
And I always ask the question, who's controlling who?
Yeah.
You know,
That's people don't realize, like a smoker. I mean, they're like a puppet. They have this cigarette is controlling, this little thing with tobacco in it is controlling their life. You know, because people think that they're in control of their life, and you go, no, look, this little cigarette
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Well, and it's even
yeah,
like me going and eating, because I being allergic to tree nuts, I can't eat a lot of chocolate, so I have chocolate chips in the freezer, and so sometimes I'll go for my. Oh, wait a minute. Who's controlling who here? Who's
Uh-huh.
controlling who? And it doesn't, and it's not
Yeah.
necessarily chocolate chips, but it's that taste bud or that trigger inside of me that says, another
Yeah.
handful, another handful. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't really need that other handful. I can wait a minute. I can wait 10 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
So asking that question, who's controlling who? I don't want to get up out of bed because my intention was to exercise more, to move more. Okay, so if I don't want to get up out of bed or out of the chair, who's controlling who? What part of me is saying no?
Yeah.
And who is asking to have more endurance to move forward? Well, it's not the part that wants to sabotage me, right? So these are just foods for thought, you know,
Yeah.
no right or wrong. Every mind, every perception is different. So whatever can work for the person who's sitting in front of themselves and wanting to change something, these are just perspectives.
And I think what you're also saying is just be gentle with yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
and just be aware, because I think that's what we do as human beings is we say that blah 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 is going to be my reality, and then we just beat ourselves up and beat ourselves up. And what happens with that? Then you go back to whatever that cycle is. So just
Mhm.
let it be. It's fine. Talking about perspective and awareness, you know.
Mhm. Yep. Okay. So I had one more hand of chocolate chips than I wanted. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do better next time. You
Yeah.
yeah,
know, but like Samity Baron used to, who's a spirit who helps with helps with spirits on this side, the human side. He says, you guys are going to be skin and bones anyways someday, so just enjoy what you got because curves look good on you.
Yeah.
It's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Well, we're at the hour here, my guys, and
Yeah.
I am so grateful. I have been so grateful. I say that word a lot, but I am so
Same.
grateful that you, Regan, you have continued this with me, and now with you, my dear, you just have just added this magic into this world. So thank you for both
Yeah, I'm
of
feeling
you
the
for
magic.
being in
You
my
got the
life.
magic. Thank you. You've got the magic, girl. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
So, Regan, how can people get a hold of you?
It's on the screen there. Visit theafterlife.com. And there's some videos on my website that are great to give a lot more information on, what is this thing that allows anybody to visit the afterlife now? It's like with a good medium or this process that we have, I tell people you don't have to rely on gurus anymore or holy books or anything. You can go direct to the source and find out what really is happening, and that's really hard for some people to believe and they want to push it away, but it's happening. And
Yeah.
the Newton Institute, we've helped over 65,000 people now. Actually, Patty and I have both been to the afterlife twice now. Patty's been twice, I've been twice. And the things you learn, they just shift your life.
Yeah.
It's just such a positive, good, loving kind of thing that give you more information to help you to get through this difficult life here, because you realize that this world down here is a school and it's designed to be tough, and the best way we can navigate through it is by, having more of the bigger picture helps.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know that that's helped me too, having the bigger picture of why.
Yeah.
It takes out the why. Why am I doing this? Well, it's because it's part of the bigger picture. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do they get a hold of you?
I was just going to say, so how do you get a hold of you?
You can reach me at angelicclarifications.com, and I so enjoy helping people get through these types of moments, these mind games that we go through. The like I was having a conversation with somebody, it's kind of like the cog in the wheel that kind of gets sketchy at a certain point all the time, and then it triggers us to go back down the rabbit hole. I love to find out what's that sketchy part is so that we can move forward and through it and moving around our circle of life so that we can be who we are. And it's amazing going through life of self-punishment. It's not a good amazement.
Yeah.
It's nice to be clearer, nicer to be clear. And Patty, I know that you are doing something that is, you're helping, you're in this movement that it's amazing that you're doing this work, and it's helping women to
so the girls, sending African girls to school, to college, and what they're actually doing. It's called the She Fund, the She College Fund, and we're helping girls from the Maasai tribe in Kenya escape. Well, we're sending them through college, and they've been rescued at the age of 8, 9, 11 from FGM, which is female genital mutilation, and then early marriage. And so they go to a rescue house. It's illegal, but it's happening. So they go to a rescue house with a friend of mine runs it. And then at the end of high school, you really don't have, as a woman, you still don't have a lot of choices. So then we send them through college. And if you're educated and you go through college, you go back to your village. The first thing you do is build your mother a house, which is basically like cinder blocks and mud. And then the father or the mother then say, we don't have to, because the early marriage is basically like a 11-year-old getting married to a 40-year-old as a second wife. So we don't really have to do that for the dowry anymore. I can send my other daughters through that process. And then those girls come back into the family, and they're the elders in a way of the community. They're educated. People ask them, advice, and they bring in money, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. And
education, shifting education is the greatest key to our future.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you notice in this conversation, it was about self education, about how to word ourselves better. And then now you're doing this work helping these women that, up here in the Northwest, we have a football player, and he was on the with the Seahawks, and he was on the news the other day, and like he was saying that he wears, he's supporting this Black Women's Society, and he says people don't understand the lack of abilities, and I'm not choosing the words right here, and I apologize. It's that there's so many stoppers for women of color that are unspoken, that only if you're in it and you've been a witness to it through generations are the ones that see it, because they're so subliminal. There, and there are even stoppers that are carried in the womb because of how the women speak to each other. That it's just amazing. And like he says, that he's here to help these women grow, because if we have balance, we're going to have better balance in our lives. Male, female, just like the two of you are. I'm witnessing two wonderfully balanced. It's a relationship, even though things aren't always perfect, but they work out.
Yeah. They
And
do.
I honor you guys for being where you're at in your life.
Took us a long time.
Yeah. It does take, well, I know I've been married, in March will be 31 years to my husband, and we're finally I can say we're finally saying, I don't like that word that you're speaking to me anymore.
Yeah.
Without
Well,
getting a fight.
I give you so much more credit because you stuck there with the same person for 31 years. Because when I say it took us a long time, it didn't take us a long time together. It took us a long time with different people and the sandpaper and then moving on. But the real divine sandpaper is sticking with it for the same person for 31 years. Because we're just like, next person. Yeah. Well, for whatever reason that was. But,
we all have our different stories. We all have our
Yeah.
different stories of why. I mean, there's many times where I wish I would have left my husband, and I just didn't. Sometimes I loved my house more than I loved my husband. So, but but that's what alcohol does for you. It was funny. He was cleaning something that exploded off the roof or the ceiling, and he goes, "That looks like ketchup or blood. Did you try it? Were you thinking about killing somebody at one time?" And I said, "Yeah, I kind of was, but I chose not to." Because of his alcoholism, he knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, I gotcha. Yeah, totally.
Well, I hope everybody has enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that it helps set up new successful ways of managing life. Like I've told somebody over our vacation, one step at a time, one moment at a time. Sometimes it's that moment to moment of being in the present to find out where we're really supposed to be. And sometimes that is to get up out of bed and do what we were intentionally going to do. Or sometimes it's to stay in bed 5 more minutes and do some conversation with ourselves, then get up and do the intention that we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
love it.
So blessings, everyone, and we will see you next Monday at
Monday
4
at 4
o'clock
Pacific
Pacific
Standard
time.
Time.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll see you on Wednesday at Life Clarifications with Natasha. Blessings, all. Bye now.
Be well.
Stay on, guys.